But I don't know, saying that someone's not a good narrator of their own experience, that does seem tricky. Since, believing the people that went through an experience seems kind of important. Apocrypha. Every artist has heroes. Creators whose work we connect with, whose methods we aspire to, whose words we cherish. These exceptional talents can seem beyond human, like mythological figures. From a distance, what can we know to be true? Without witnessing a beloved's work actual creation, it's impossible to know what truly happened. And if we did observe the process with our own eyes, our account would be an outside interpretation at best. These stories about how works get made and the rituals of the artists who make them are generally exaggerated and often pure fiction. A work of art happens naturally, of its own accord. We may wonder where the underlying idea came from and how each individual element was put together to produce such a masterwork. But nobody knows how or why these things happen. Often not even the maker. In cases when the artist thinks they know, their interpretation may not be accurate or the whole story. We live in a mysterious world full of uncertainties, and we regularly making assumptions to explain them. Coming to terms with the complexity of our human experience allows us to exit our natural state of confusion to survive. Generally, our explanations are guesses. These vague hypotheticals become fixed in our minds as fact. We are interpretation machines, and this process of labeling and detaching is efficient but not accurate. We are the unreliable narrators of our own experience. So when an artist creates a work that comes together by an unseen hand, and the process is later analyzed, what we get is more storytelling. This is art history. Art reality is forever unknown. These stories may be interesting and fun to think about, but to believe a specific method is responsible for the quality of a work is misleading, especially if it causes you to repeat that process in hopes of achieving a similar result. Legendary figures in art and history are sometimes held up as deities. It is counterproductive to measure ourselves against them because they never existed as such. They are beings with typical human vulnerabilities and flaws just like us. Each artist works with their own balance of strengths and weaknesses, and there is no rule that more praiseworthy strengths or romanticized self-destruction equals better art. Expressing yourself is all that matters. All art is a form of poetry. It's always changing, never fixed. We may think we know what a piece we made means, yet over time that interpretation may change. The creator stops being the creator once they finish the work. They then become the viewer, and the viewer can bring as much of their own meaning to a piece as the creator. We will never know a work's true meaning. It's helpful to remember that there are forces at work beyond our comprehension. Let's make art and let others make the stories. Oh, that's so beautifully said. When they say that all art is a form of poetry and the meaning may change, that the creator stops being the creator once they finish the work, then they become the viewer. I've certainly felt that with, building the name Full Q Developer. Like, it has multiple meanings now as I'm a viewer of it. Same thing with my scenery videos. They're beautiful videos as I'm taking them, but I'm only a viewer at the end when I'm playing them back and seeing, what happened in that scene. And I guess to a certain extent, same thing with the app. It's a little bit of a joke, but I I do say it sincerely. I say, what a good app, often when I'm using the app, because it is. It's a good app. And, it helps me helps me get around the subway in a way that other apps don't. What a good app, I say, as I'm now the viewer and not the creator of the app when I'm out there using it. I do find it interesting how he says our explanations are guesses. Because I guess a lot of artwork, I guess, happens subconsciously. A lot of art decisions happen subconsciously, and so how can you know what those were? And like he says, they're guesses at best. We are unreliable narrators of our own experience. I'm not sure about that. I mean, I guess I hear what he means about the alternate meanings of things. But I don't know, saying that someone's not a good narrator of their own experience, that does seem tricky. Since, believing the people that went through an experience seems kind of important, as they would have a different perspective than observers. Comes together by an unseen hand, and then we tell the story of what happened, which is funny because I think he does a lot of that in this book. He talks about, was it the last chapter or 2 chapters ago, about the Beatles and Beach Boys kind of inspiring each other to make more music. And that was the narration that the Beach Boys gave and that the Beatles gave. So is he kind of disagreeing with that, or what exactly is he saying here? Or is he just talking about our ability to actually label all of the subconscious? Yeah, they can be fun to think about. I love how he says that. But believing that there's a specific method doesn't make sense. I guess they call that a cargo cult or whatever. Like trying to make something that looks like the original thing in hopes that lightning strikes twice. Because as he says elsewhere in the book, there are no guarantees. Each artist works with their own balance of strengths and weaknesses. Oh, isn't that the truth? Some people are really good at planning. Some people are not. Some people are really good at color theory. Other people are less good at it. There's no praiseworthy strengths or romanticized self-destruction equals better art. Yeah, I guess the people talk about, I guess Hunter S. Thompson come to mind with his drinking and smoking or whatever. It's like, does that make it better art? And there is no rule about that. All there is expressing yourself. Beautifully said, beautifully said. I'm guessing he's talking about creativity here when he says we are dealing in a magic realm. Nobody knows why or how it works. He calls this chapter Apocrypha, which I don't understand, to be honest. I guess he just means like things that can't be known. Like how inspiration and creativity actually works. And I guess this is like a bit of humility on his part too, is like he has this book about how to be creative, which he does say is just a bunch of suggestions. And yeah, it is just a bunch of suggestions. He thinks maybe it works this way, but maybe it doesn't, because look at this other piece of art where they didn't do this approach at all, and they still made something pretty good. All right, I think that's going to be it for me for today.